Yeah.
Henry, I'm glad you came.
I'll fetch it right away.
How are you, Henry?
Henry, I'm glad you came.
I could do with a bite to eat.
Greetings, Henry.
God save you, Henry. God grant you health. How may I help you?
The fisherman told me you'd be up for a brawl. Is it true?
Aye, if you've a mind to. Goodbye. Ale do prdele! God!
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that noise?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
May the Lord watch over you, Henry. Is there something you...
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
Are you one of the local pew?
I'm glad you... God be with you. Fuck!
I am honored that...
Let's fight.
Is someone already beaten?
I want to get better.
Certainly.
I'd like to hone my...
All right. But it'll... Now, pay...
Yeah.
These onions will make you weep like a baby, but oh! Wait
Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you, Henry.
Is someone there?
Hey!
I'm glad to see you.
The fisherman sent...
Good health to
See you later.
Let's fight.
All right. Good. You put on a pretty good show. Let's spice it up with a few groschen, eh? See you later.
What are you doing here? Hey, Henry's come to see us.
God save Henry.
God be with you. I'm looking for Sakuno. Sakuno? Baron Rickvold. Isn't this his camp?
You won't get nothing out of him. You must be Radzig's man. I heard he was supposed to send someone.
Yes, Sir Radzig sent me as a guide. I'm Henry.
I'm Jakey. And this here fella, we call the Stone.
I can see why. What's up with him? Cat got his tongue?
No, more like the dog got it. The executioner's dog. When the executioner ripped it out of him. Anyway, you better come along with me. I'll introduce you to the other fellas. And the chief. These here are the Bearman brothers, Petter and Jan. They're a barrel of laughs, except when they're too drunk to string two words together. Like now. Don't get on the wrong side of them, though. When their blood is up, well, it ain't a pretty sight.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, I'm sure.
Never mind the fancy poses, Stefan. You're trying to kill the fucker, not teach him how to dance. And you, Dangler, stand your ground. Don't let him lead you round by the nose.
Sir? Well, sir, this is Henry. From Lord Kobula.
Ah, it's about time Radzig got round to this. We need someone who knows their way around these parts. Leave off with the bowing and curtsying. We don't hold with that tomfoolery here. Jakey! Where the hell are you sneaking off to? Go to the farm and get water. The lads are thirsty.
But I went last time.
And you'll go next time, you ungrateful pup. Get your ass moving. Snot-nosed brat. You put them out of a pile of shit, and they thank you with back talk. Where were we? Oh, yeah. We need a guide who knows these parts. So I hope I can rely on you, Herman.
It's Henry.
Right. Well, as I said to Radzig, I don't want to carry any dead weight. We could find ourselves in some very tight situations where every sword counts.
I know how to handle a sword, all right.
I've heard a lot of fellas say that. They still ended up on the wrong end of one. We'll find out. Stefan, take a break. Dangler, let's find out what Harold here can do.
Sure. No problem, Chief.
You didn't fare badly at all, I must say. You can ride with us.
All right, good. Thanks.
Don't thank me yet. You don't know what you're letting yourself in for.
Sir Kuno, can you tell me something about yourself?
Drop the sir. That title brought me nothing but grief. But what do you want to know?
Sir Radzig told me the Rickvold family lost its wealth. How did that happen?
There's all sorts of ways to become impoverished. Nothing easier. Especially when your father's a fool, and your mother's mad as a bat.
Oh.
But it's a long and twisted story. We took our name from Rickvald Castle, but that actually belonged to the convent of the Poor Clares in Tynitz, and my father only leased it. You see, he knew the abbess there since they were young. Knew her very well. There was even talk that she only joined the order because her family wouldn't let her marry him. Anyway, whether he was fucking her right there in the convent, or he just took a lot of interest in scripture, he spent an awful lot of time in Tynitz.
Well, nobles can be very devout sometimes.
Not my old man. He cursed like a tanner's hand. More than once, he threatened to take a whip to our parish priest. Anyway, my mother never had strong nerves. Truth be told, her sanity was always shaky. Pa's escapades drove her cuckoo entirely. Then, one frosty December morning, I was woken by screaming and smoke. I looked out the window, and I saw my mother there, in the courtyard, wreathed in flames. Behind her, the stables, the farm buildings, and the tower were burning too. And she just stood there, shrieking with laughter.
Christ, that sounds like a scene straight out of hell.
Hellish it was, I can tell you. Me and my sister Adela and a few servants managed to get out before the whole place went up. I couldn't get to my father. Or my little brother. Poor lad was only 7. My sister and I were left destitute after the fire. But then my cousin, Adam of Drevich, took us into his castle. A few weeks later, he offered to buy what was left of our estates and sell me a small fortress near a Kovnik. It was a great relief. We suddenly had some hope of a future again. So I told my sister about it. And it was the biggest mistake of my life. A week later, the two of them announced to me they were getting married. And all that was left of our estates, lands, woods, villages, Adela was to get it all as a dowry.
But surely that was for you to decide. You were the head of the family, right?
Aye. Only I barely had 17 years under my belt, and I'd just lost everything. Of course, I argued with them, and that was the only excuse they needed to kick me out of Drevich too.
That's pretty harsh.
You're telling me. But I'm not complaining. As my pa always used to say, if you can turn your hand to something, you'll never be lost. I doubt it ever crossed his mind how often I'd remember those words.
What about your debt to Sir Radzig? How did that come about?
A twist of fate, lad. I was fighting in the hostilities between the House of Schallenberg and the town of Colleen. Some trade dispute it was. And in the end, the two sides negotiated a truce. And I rode to Colleen with the delegation that was to parley there. We stopped off and I could tell at first sight he was a man after my own heart. A likeable... We spent the whole night drinking together and talking, and in the morning we set off together with sore heads, but in good temper. Only, once we reached the city gates, they arrested me on the spot. Seems the burghers had it in. On the other hand, I was a member of the peace delegation, so by rights, they shouldn't have even looked at me sideways. And then it hit me why Colleen is a royal city. So he was there to represent the king's interest.
I see. So he was on the other side.
That's right. Anyway, they threw me in a dungeon, and a few days later word reached me that the Schallenbergs had reached an agreement with the burghers. Only part of the deal was they would give them my head. And I'd surely have ended my days swinging from the town battlements if it hadn't been for Radzig. He liked me, and he could see it was a dirty trick, so he somehow squared things with the city council.
Lucky for you.
Indeed. I owe my life to Radzig, and I'll never forget it. He's asked me twice before for help. This is the third time, and how could I refuse him?
I'd like to ask about your men.
Ask away.
What about the fellow they call Dangler?
I've never ridden with a better man, I can tell you. He doesn't say a lot.
So he scouts for you?
Not just that. It's happened more than once. I was closing a deal with someone, and Dangler told me after that he didn't like the smell of the fella nearly every time he was right, and the fellow tried to stab me in the back afterwards.
Those Behrman brothers are quite a pair.
Indeed they are. There's no more mercy in them than in, well, a bear. If I told them to skewer you on the spot, they'd do it, without batting an eyelid.
Jesus.
Oh, aye. They'd argue first about which one of them got to do the job,